Have you ever sat alone and why am I alone right now? Have you ever watched people slowly drift out of your life, even when you tried your best to be kind, patient, and loving? Loneliness can feel like punishment. It can feel like rejection. And many times, we believe God is taking people away from us. But sometimes, God isn't taking anything away. Sometimes, He's making space. This story is about loneliness, faith, and how God gently prepares the heart by quieting the world around it. Stay until the end, because the truth in this story may change how you see your own silent seasons. In a quiet countryside village, where narrow dirt roads curved between small houses and wide open fields moved gently with the wind, lived an old woman named Martha. She walked slowly and spoke softly, but her heart carried a deep, steady warmth. Her home was small, wooden walls, a simple roof, but anyone who stepped inside felt peace. Martha believed God lived wherever kindness lived, and she tried to make her home a place where kindness never ran out. There was a time when her life was full of noise and movement. Her husband was strong and cheerful, a man who laughed easily and worked hard. Their son Daniel was curious and full of energy, always asking questions about the world and about God. They worked the land together, shared simple meals, prayed before sleep, and dreamed modest dreams. Martha often thanked God, not for wealth or luxury, but for having just enough love to feel complete. Then one winter, sickness came quietly. Her husband grew weaker day by day. Martha stayed beside him through long nights, holding his hand, feeding him slowly, whispering prayers she had learned as a child. Sometimes she begged God to heal him. Other times, she simply asked God to stay close. When her husband passed away one early morning, the house suddenly felt too big and too quiet. Martha cried alone, her face buried in her hands, asking God why love had to hurt so deeply. But something unexpected happened in that silence. Alongside the pain, she felt a gentle reminder: God's presence had not left with her husband. The silence hurt, but it wasn't empty. After her husband's death, Martha grew slower. Her hands shook. Her back bent under years of work. Still, she continued each day with prayer. She believed God doesn't give strength for the whole future, only for the day right in front of us. When Daniel grew older, he left the village to work in the city. At first, he visited often, bringing stories, gifts, and laughter that filled the house again. But over time, his visits grew shorter, then rare. Eventually, months passed without him coming home at all. Martha learned to eat her meals alone. She learned the sound of the wind outside her window. Some nights, loneliness pressed heavily on her chest, and she quietly asked God, "Is this all that's left for me?" But every morning, she still woke before sunrise, washed her face, lit a small lamp, folded her hands, and thanked God for life. She never asked God to take the loneliness away. She only asked to be useful. Martha cooked simple food, cleaned her small home, and worked in her garden, where she felt closest to God with her hands in the soil. Children passing by often stopped at her gate. She welcomed them with bread, fruit, and stories. She listened to their small worries, believing God listens the same way to every heart. Some villagers wondered why she gave so much when she lived alone. Martha would smile and say, "Loneliness isn't empty when God is present." Even animals were drawn to her home. Birds rested on her roof. An old, thin dog waited outside her door each day. Martha would gently pet its head and say, "God sends those who need love." One summer, Daniel returned from the city looking tired and restless. He watched his mother cook, serve others, and give what little strength she had left. Confused, he said, "Mom, why do you work so hard? People will forget you. You should rest." Martha looked at him gently. "My son," she said, "God hasn't forgotten me. And as long as I can give love, I'm not alone." Daniel didn't understand. To him, loneliness meant failure. He thought a full life was measured by noise and crowds, not quiet service. That same evening, a poor traveler came asking for food. Martha welcomed him without hesitation. Before leaving, the man said, May God return your kindness when your strength is gone. Daniel heard the words, but their meaning hadn't reached his heart yet. As months passed, Martha's health weakened. Her steps grew shorter. Her nights grew longer. Loneliness returned at times, and tears fell freely. But instead of growing bitter, Martha prayed deeper, trusting God was shaping her in ways she couldn't yet see. One winter, she became very ill. She could no longer stand or cook. When the villagers heard, something unexpected happened. People came from everywhere. Women brought soup and medicine. Children sat by her bed. Men stood outside her home, praying quietly. In that moment, Martha realized none of her kindness had been wasted. God had kept it all. Daniel rushed back when he heard the news. When he walked in and saw so many people caring for his mother, his heart finally broke open. Sitting beside her bed, he cried and said, "Mom, you were never alone." Martha smiled softly and whispered, "God never takes love away. He only moves it." After she recovered, Daniel begged her to come live with him in the city. Afraid of losing her, Martha prayed and felt peace. She believed God was opening another door. City life was loud and crowded. At times, Martha felt lonely in the apartment. Then one day, Daniel took her to a home for orphaned children. When he told her she could help there, tears filled her eyes. She knew God had answered her loneliness again. She cooked, told stories, prayed softly, and held children when they cried. They called her Grandma Martha. Her heart felt full in a brand new way. Years passed. Martha grew weaker, but her spirit stayed strong. When she passed away peacefully, children, neighbors, workers, and strangers came to honor her. Daniel stood quietly, finally understanding something he once missed. His mother's lonely seasons were never empty. They were guided. And this is the lesson. When God allows loneliness, He isn't punishing you. He's preparing you. He removes noise so you can hear love clearly. He removes people so your heart can grow wider. If you feel lonely today, remember this. God may be shaping you into light for someone else. Love given through God never disappears. It only finds new places to live.